Hello, I'm Pollyanna, and I'm one of the four furniture flipping sisters. Today, I'd like to take you on the journey with me as I tell you about my first furniture flipping piece that I did for a profit. Now, my sisters and I have done a lot of furniture flipping over the years, but only for ourselves. We've never done anything to sell, but we decided that it would be fun and it would be a fun way for the four of us to connect if we started doing a business together. So come along with for the journey with us. So my first piece, I went to a furniture store or to a thrift store and bought a piece of furniture. Now, it was an ugly dresser hidden away behind a lot of stuff. It was stuffed in between couches and had all kinds of things stacked on top of it, and I could only see a little bit of it. I was only able to even open one drawer. The rest was all stuffed behind things I couldn't get to. But I had a gut feeling that this was going to be a diamond in the rough. So I went ahead and purchased it. It was only $35. As I was getting it out to the pickup with my husband, I realized it was in pretty decent shape, and I was so relieved because I knew he wasn't going to be pleased with me if I spent money on something that was total junk. But it was in pretty decent shape. It was a pretty solid piece of furniture. Had some dings here and there, and it was ugly, but it looked to be all cosmetic. So we got it home, and the first thing I did was clean this little puppy up. Now, it was dirty. It was really dirty. And I used some crud clutter and I cleaned it, and then I used water to clean that off. But inside, it was really full of a lot of gunk. And a couple of the drawers were not in the best of repair, but they didn't require very much work to get them so that they slid well. But I vacuumed out all of the crud that was in it. But the main thing was it didn't smell bad. That was a relief because I didn't want to work with stinky furniture, but it was in pretty decent condition altogether. So I started sanding it down. I did discover a couple more dings here and there, but not anything bad. I removed the hardware. Then I went to puttying everything up with some wood putty, puttied up the new holes because, as you notice, there were only 5 pieces of original hardware and one had been replaced and it wasn't pretty. So I knew I was going to be doing new hardware and it wasn't going to match. So I puttied that all up and then sanded it again. I was really happy with it. There was a spot on one of the legs that needed a little repair, so I put a little wood glue and clamped that down and left it overnight, and next day, good as new. I could hardly even find where the problem had been. Sanded down the wood glue and I was good to go. Now, I didn't know for sure what I wanted to do with this piece. It's just you start working and you feel it. You know what you want to do as you feel it. And this one was not calling to me yet. So I went ahead and primed it with 2 coats of primer because I didn't know if there was going to be any leakage of anything from this Hummer. But as I primed it, I realized I really liked the white color. So I went ahead and painted it with several coats of white chalk paint. Now, this was a first for me. I had never used chalk paint before, and I'll tell you, it is a learning curve. The main thing is I watched a lot of videos and I realized that I needed to keep it moist, keep it wet. So I used a little spray bottle and I would mist it as I went, and it went on really nicely and I was really happy with it. One thing that I really enjoy about using chalk paint is that it dries quickly, so you're able to move on to the next step quickly. But so I painted it all white, and I knew that I wanted the top to be different, so I went ahead and painted it in a gray color. And let me tell you, I really liked it. But then the white against the gray was a little much for me, so I went ahead and dry brushed some gray down into the white and over the doors, and then it was really calling to me. I knew that this was a piece that I was really going to love. And I did a little bit of rough sanding here and there on the top, but not very much. But I did want to roughen it up just a little bit so that it looked a little bit distressed, but I didn't want to go overboard. And I used a little bit of the darker chalk paint and to make that stand out, and I was really pleased with how it turned out. Then I went ahead and put a few coats of shellac over it, and I did an extra coat on the top because I wanted it to be really durable. Then I got out my hardware. I'd ordered that on Amazon. The hardware, I loved it. I thought it was so pretty, and it just fit that piece so perfectly. But it came with 2 sets of screws, and one set was too short and the other was too long. And like Goldilocks, I needed a piece that was just right. I didn't have one. I'd already been to the hardware store a couple times. And I thought, I will just make this work because that's how I roll. So I added a whole bunch of washers to the back of the screws and put to the back of the drawer and put those dang things in there. And it's like, this will work. Well, my husband happened to walk by and he said, that is ugly. And I know, but what do I do? And he's like, well, cut the screws. Duh. Sometimes you just have to have another eye to help you out. But I didn't know how to cut the screws, but he showed me, and next time I'll be able to do that. And so I was able to make them just, well, he made them just the right size for me, and they turned out lovely. I was so happy with this piece, but let me tell you, I was so nervous about actually trying to sell it. So it sat in my basement for several weeks before I finally had the guts to take it upstairs and put it somewhere so I could stage it and actually put it on Facebook Marketplace. I had to call my sisters, I don't even know how many times, to try to get the guts up to do it. And you can do it, you can do it. I don't know why that part made me so nervous, but it did. I finally did. I finally posted it and I started making dinner and my phone was making a bunch of racket and I realized within 20 minutes I'd already sold it for my $300 asking price. So I had made quite a bit of profit off of that, which was pretty darn exciting for my very first piece. Let me tell you, I know it's not going to be that quick and easy every time, but it was a wonderful experience for my first flipping piece. I'm really excited that it went to a home where I hope it'll be loved because that's the thing is these pieces of furniture, they might just be a piece of wood, but we all know that it becomes part of our home, it becomes part of us. So I hope that that new family loves it as much as I did, but I'm sure they will. One thing I've learned though is it doesn't have to be perfect to be awesome, and neither do we. We can all be awesome by even in our imperfections. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Please like and share this because my sisters and I would really appreciate it.